Right now, I'm picking LeBron James over Michael Jordan.
Nobody could ever be greater than Michael Jordan, right? Okay, and then you turn around, but in your era, LeBron James sitting there, he holding every single basketball record.
After years of
Isaiah.
For ages, Zeke championed King James as the absolute pinnacle, relentlessly comparing him to his airness until Jordan reportedly lost his cool. That inevitable clapback might have permanently altered this legendary basketball debate. The spark ignited on January 8, 2026, when Zeke swaggered onto the FanDuel set alongside Michelle Beadle, DeMarcus Cousins, and Chandler Parsons. A casual chat about basketball generations detonated, sending his controversial takes tearing across the internet in hours. Now that number 23 has broken his silence, this transcends basic locker room chatter. Immortal legacies are actively bleeding. People worship our generation as basketball's absolute peak. Here is exactly what baffles me about you modern guys, okay? You are sharing the court with arguably the most spectacular talent in basketball history. Pardon my bluntness, but you treat that man like he is completely ordinary. Zeke fired directly at current league superstars, demanding to know why they relentlessly worship his airness, while breathing the same air as King James and the Hall of Famer absolutely unloaded. You always look back and claim our time was the pinnacle. You cry about Mike being the untouchable god. You swear no human could eclipse number 23, right? Fine. Then you completely flip the script. Meanwhile, the Akron Hammer sits right there, actively shattering every conceivable milestone. I mean, entirely rewriting basketball history. You are staring right at generational snipers like Kevin Durant and witnessing the magic of Stephen Curry. Yet, when crowning the ultimate GOAT, you blindly glorify the dude who tossed you a pair of sneakers and hooked you up with free apparel. That jab about free gear was a direct torpedo aimed straight at Jordan's corporate empire. Zeke insinuated that Mike's corporate dominance hypnotizes fans way more than his actual hardwood wizardry ever did. Beadle confessed her loyalty to number 23 stemmed purely from childhood memories, admitting, "That exact feeling is why I became obsessed with hoops." Zeke has preached this gospel for over a decade. During a 2013 hit on ESPN 1000, he insisted James was the ultimate physical specimen, larger, quicker, and vastly more powerful. Come 2018 on Get Up, his controversial conviction hardened significantly, boldly declaring the kid from Akron is fundamentally superior to the Bulls legend. He acknowledged Abdul-Jabbar stands tall, and obviously there is a relentless war of words between the camps of Mike and Bron over who dominates any random evening. Personally, I strip away the noise and analyze the complete, exhaustive masterpiece of what the king has actually accomplished on the floor, and if forced to choose today, I am taking James over his airness. Mike destroys you with buckets, but this monster obliterates you in absolutely every category. He crashes the glass, drops dimes, and elevates every single teammate, possessing unmatched size, blinding speed, and brute force. This is not mere number crunching for Zeke, it is an epic saga brewing for decades. On television, he highlights those jaw-dropping milestones: 4,474 postseason buckets, unmatched endurance, and a resume bursting with impossibilities. That sacred 30.1 career average from Chicago's hero? Zeke waves it off, valuing sheer marathon dominance. Make no mistake, this goes way deeper than analytics. It is a bitter, venomous blood feud festering since the late 1980s. Zeke captained those terrifying Detroit Bad Boys, a brutally rugged squad famous for inventing the punishing Jordan rules, a strategy designed to physically batter Chicago's savior. Motor City crushed his championship dreams for 3 consecutive postseasons, securing back-to-back titles. When Chicago finally took their 1991 revenge, Zeke famously marched off the hardwood, utterly refusing any handshakes. That massive disrespect birthed an eternal grudge. Toss in that legendary 1985 All-Star freeze-out, plus years of endless silent warfare, and you witness pure hatred. Jump to 2026. Zeke frames the king as the ultimate milestone crusher, slyly whispering that the untouchable Nike god once bled, proving history remains a deeply tangled web. That explosive Last Dance documentary merely poured gasoline on the fire, prompting demands for public apologies and resurrecting dormant venom. Forget the petty squabbles over scoring titles or championship jewelry. This is a titanic collision of egos, bruised pride, and eternally unsettled scores. Every single metric Zeke weaponizes carries the agonizing weight of ancient hardwood wars, deep vendettas, and hard-fought glories. Ultimately, Determining the true GOAT is secondary. The real mystery is whether time preserves the actual talent, the raw data, or the bitter hatred shaping them. Let us keep it real. I personally conquered Ervin, vanquished Abdul-Jabbar, and dismantled Bird and his iconic Boston dynasty. Mike never conquered those iconic squads during the 1990s. Absolute facts. During his 1990s reign, Chicago's icon defeated Sir Charles, outlasted the Mailman, and eliminated Stockton. He dispatched the Glove and the Rain Man. Zeke is absolutely not speaking as some sideline pundit. He preaches from the bloody front lines, carrying scars from the most vicious postseason dogfights in professional basketball history. He mathematically cements the Kings' dominance, highlighting 42,575 points, 11,117 dimes, and 11,028 boards. Michael ranks 5th ever with 32,292 points, 5,633 dimes, and 6,672 boards. That gap reflects a shorter career, not weakness. King James fought nearly 1,500 battles across 23 campaigns, dwarfing Michael's 1,072 across 15. To Isiah, massive total production absolutely dictates everything. Delivering relentless greatness over decades undeniably leaves a larger footprint. Still, this viewpoint drags along some heavy, deeply personal baggage. Isiah fought Michael 65 times, stealing 36 wins and a brutal 16-6 playoff advantage. Detroit's ruthless bad boys postponed Chicago's ultimate glory for 3 agonizing years. Their weapon? The Jordan rules, a brutal defensive scheme engineered to physically shatter the rising legend. Everything erupted during May 1991 as a merciless Chicago squad utterly dismantled Detroit 4-0 for the Eastern Crown. But Isiah's crew notoriously marched off that hardwood without offering a single handshake. MJ held onto that bitter grudge forever, branding it pure disrespect throughout The Last Dance. That toxic friction festered, culminating in Isiah's shocking exclusion from the 1992 Dream Team. Rumors insist Michael quietly pulled those strings. Isiah remains convinced pure hatred drove that choice. Regardless of reality, being left behind poured gasoline on an already raging decades-old inferno. Fans remain fiercely divided. Haters label Isiah deeply resentful, insisting ancient rivalries completely blind his current perspective. Defenders counter that his voice holds unparalleled authority. He actually defended Michael, engineered tactical blueprints to crush him, and survived the most savage postseason wars basketball ever witnessed. Fusing battlefield scars with raw data, his viewpoint grants this debate profound gravity far beyond empty television chatter. Surrounding circumstances mean everything. Michael never dethroned Magic and Kareem's legendary Lakers, nor did he conquer Larry's prime Celtics. When Chicago finally captured gold in 1991, those mythical empires were already crumbling. Detroit remained the ultimate wall, a terrifying squad that compelled his airness to evolve, harden his game, and finally break through. Those vicious wars forged legacies, permanently rewriting the true definition of ultimate competitive supremacy. Therefore, whenever Isiah takes the studio desk to weigh King James against MJ, he's absolutely not just crunching basic spreadsheets. He is unearthing a blood feud born from rookie alienation, savage postseason beatings, and profound mutual disdain. His stance leans heavily on historical grit and frontline trauma, not merely baskets or dimes. Ultimately, this relentless argument questions something far deeper than merely crowning an undisputed champion. It genuinely asks, how do we quantify supremacy? Do we worship fleeting peaks or endless marathon dominance? Is it about solo flair, lifetime achievements, cold data, or crowns forged through absolute adversity? This intertwined saga of Isiah, Michael, and James proves immortality transcends mere spreadsheets. It remains an epic tale carved by fierce bad blood, shifting eras, and unforgettable moments of defiance. Michael would mercilessly destroy you offensively, but LeBron dismantles you across every conceivable facet. He crashes the glass, dishes flawless dimes, elevates his entire squad, all while being a massive, lightning-fast physical juggernaut. Isiah never once denies Michael's terrifying offensive supremacy. He fully respects the 10 scoring crowns, that 30.1 lifetime average, and those 33.4 postseason markers still reigning supreme today. Yet, Isiah calculates true legendary status completely differently. Stacking relentless, across-the-board mastery simply outweighs blazing hot streaks isolated to just one specific skill. In that arena, King James sits totally untouchable. currently ruling as history's ultimate postseason leader in buckets, dimes, and grabbed boards. Playing 292 playoff games obliterates Michael's 179. Across almost all grand totals, James utterly eclipses Chicago's beloved icon. Isiah notes other arenas respect this logic. Usain Bolt owns global sprinting records completely. Serena utterly rules the tennis majors. Brady completely owns Super Bowl passing yardage. Yet somehow, basketball fanatically argues the greatest ever, despite James clutching all the historical milestones. The culprit? Deep nostalgia and massive corporate marketing. Absolutely, those iconic sneakers, the global branding empire, and pure romanticized memories heavily distort everyone's final verdict. This war defies simple math. It stays profoundly personal, soaked in decades of tension. Their toxic blood feud traces straight back to the mid-1980s. Word is, veterans intentionally iced out a rookie Michael during the 1985 All-Star Showcase, sowing the seeds of early paranoia. Next emerged the brutal Jordan rules, where Detroit mercilessly battered Chicago between 1988 and 1990, stalling Michael's championship dreams while manufacturing absolute postseason terrors. Once Chicago ultimately obliterated Detroit during 1991, Isiah's crew notoriously vanished without a single handshake, a massive insult. His airness never ever let go. Isiah argues the walkout simply matched their team's emotion. Michael fiercely labeled it blatant disrespect throughout The Last Dance. The 1992 Dream Team roster poured salt in the wound. Despite 2 rings and 12 All-Star nods, Isiah got snubbed, an exclusion he blames on Michael's hidden influence, despite official denials. That toxic grudge survives today, fiercely driving his LeBron campaign. Michael's public stance remains incredibly guarded. He dodges crowning an ultimate king, constantly pointing toward generational shifts, evolving rulebooks, three-point revolutions, and modern resting strategies. He certainly praises James's talent, publicly commenting in 2023 after LeBron eclipsed Kareem's scoring milestone. Massive congratulations on a breathtaking feat. Later in 2025, he admitted LeBron could dominate any era. Still, he absolutely never surrenders that elusive GOAT crown. He masterfully stokes the fire through total quiet, letting 6 rings, 5 MVP honors, and 10 scoring crowns roar on his behalf. Firing back would only hand his critic a bigger megaphone. You see, during that chat, Isiah actually kicked things off, declaring Kareem the absolute king. From there, he stumbled right into a defensive pivot. Dropping down to that second level, Isiah honestly sounded incredibly bitter, despite speaking the absolute truth. This legendary war of words burns fiercely, fracturing opinions everywhere. Pundits literally stumble, accidentally crowning James with his rival's name, proving that untouchable Chicago standard still rules everything. Masterminds like Van Gundy quietly crown James, whereas media voices weigh those staggering statistics against the sheer mythological aura of his predecessor. Veterans battling both legends, guys from Stackhouse to O'Neal, usually bow to the Ohio native's relentless endurance, breathtaking vision, and supreme adaptability. Green outright declares that sprawling resume absolutely perfect, while secret surveys reveal the freshest generation overwhelmingly pledging loyalty to the king. Still, those 6 legendary rings, ruthless bloodlust, and massive defensive hardware forge an invincible late-game mythos. The whole world endlessly orbits one agonizing dilemma. Do we worship marathon endurance or absolute prime supremacy? Thomas vehemently champions those ridiculous career totals and modern context, swearing the math speaks truth, while phenomenal marketing falsely elevated the Chicago icon's ghost. That icy, quiet, intentional, or otherwise, allows sheer history to roar, guaranteeing this brutal war rages on for generations. Ultimately, these 2 titans conquered entirely different timelines. The real mystery isn't declaring a winner, but figuring out how we actually weigh immortality, and if time rewards soul over cold statistics.